business when I was 25 years old. I was introduced to this company randomly. I was one of those random people that, somebody approached somewhere, gave me directions to an opportunity meeting, and I actually showed up. So people do show up. Opportunity-minded people will show up, and they will take the necessary steps to get started here. So it was a snowy day. I get up on a Saturday morning. I work for an accounting firm. I was 2 years out of college, getting paid intern pay, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week at a public accounting firm. And I knew it wasn't right. I mean, not that I ever thought life on a college campus could ever be repeated. I was so angry the day I graduated, it wasn't even funny. But life took over, got a job, got an apartment, got a roommate, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. And started to live the life. And to people that knew me, I had it all. My father was a lawyer, my mother was a dietitian, my dad got me my first job, which was in a public accounting firm that was to be revered locally. So I had a great job, I had a great cubicle, I could put as many photos on this side of the wall as I wanted to. I was living the life, I was living the dream. And for some of you that are in your 20s, maybe in your 30s, other people's perception of you is that, why would you change anything? You're on pace, you're on track, you're gonna make it, look at you, I wish I had what you had. I wish I was as far along as you. They don't live inside you. And nobody lived inside of me. I hated that job, hated the life. And at 25 years old to be miserable, that's a bad place to find yourself. So anyway, went to the random meeting. The person that invited me down didn't show. Long story short, I ended up signing an IBA. Somebody followed up with me 6 weeks later, and I ended up, isn't this crazy, Mark? And I ended up signing an IBA. And the one thing they told me, and I said, I have no time. And they said, when do you have time? And I said, I only have time really on Saturday afternoons. I have Saturday afternoons and Sundays off. And on Saturday afternoon, when I leave the firm, I take my grandmother to the beauty shop. And I've been doing that for years, and I don't really know how I'm not going to do that. I don't know how that's going to fly with her. So I called my brother, and I said to my brother, I have mandatory overtime at the firm. You have to pick grandma up, and you have to take her to the beauty shop on Saturdays. So that's, you do what you got to do in this world, right? So my brother reluctantly agreed because of mandatory. If I told him I was starting a new business, I was exploring a new option, I would have never gotten him to take the time off. And so you got to do what you got to do in this world. So I got him to take her to the beauty shop, and for 5 straight Saturdays, I met this guy at the Primerica office, and I started to learn what Primerica was all about. And it took me those 5 Saturdays, and the second Saturday was where I started to realize how committed I was. So here's what happened. The first Saturday was easy, right? I was excited. So I go and I meet this guy, and he starts talking to me and walking me through, we're righting a wrong here, and we're doing something noble, and it's incredible, and the great screw job of middle America, and all that stuff. And I probably didn't care about it. I just wanted to make $500 a month is what I heard at the meeting. $500 a month, part-time, would have allowed me enough of a cushion in my checking account to pay my Visa and my car payment on time. And that's why I came here. So I kept saying to him, well, how am I going to make money? Because you got to get passionate about what we do, and you got to feel, and I'm like, okay, I'll try, I'll really try. I've never really been passionate about a career, but we can try this. And so the second Saturday, the accounting firm was closed. It was a massive blizzard in Detroit, emergency, don't go out of your house, da 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 da. And at the time, I drove this little Fiat X19, which was a very cool little sports car. And it was buried in snow. And there was no cell phones, and I don't need to go into the ancient archive description of what life was like without a cell phone. But there weren't any. And I knew this guy was going to meet me. I knew that snowstorm or not, The way that he felt about his opportunity, he was going to be there. So I got up and I started shoveling my way out of, seriously, it was buried. So got up, unburied my car, got on the road in spite of the stay home. If you don't have to go out today, don't go out. Sure enough, I got to the parking lot. It wasn't plowed yet, but there was his car and I was pulling in. And that second Saturday is when I realized just how badly I wanted things to change in my life. Because nobody else would have done that. It was dangerous, it was not smart. I did get stuck multiple times. It wasn't fun, it was cold, it was miserable, and I had the day off. And so you're gonna make some decisions. And Bill talked about it, little decisions. That looked so small. Another person that day that was supposed to go on a Primerica appointment, that was supposed to be a guest in a meeting, made the decision not to show, made the decision to cancel. That small decision to get up that day and meet that person, it wasn't what they say, it was what I became. It was becoming committed. So a few months later, I meet Jerry, who then became my husband about, 9 months after that, 10 months after that. And he said to me, what do you do? And, being the cool person that I wanted to be, I said, I'm an accountant. And he said, where do you work? I told him where I work. I didn't tell him I was doing this. And that took me a month. So I met him for a few weeks. We went out a couple different times. And then finally I said, I really have a confession to make. And he did the, don't tell me you have another boyfriend, And I said, no, nothing like that. I'm not, no, I don't need two of you people. And that's a whole other discussion. So, no, there are no others, right? One's more than enough. So, anyway, so I said, no, there's no other boyfriend. I really like this other thing that I'm doing. And I don't even know what I'm doing. I hadn't made any money yet. I've been 3 months in a business, hadn't got paid a cent, because, we just never went on appointments. He met me and he taught me about the business, but what he forgot to do was field train me. Okay, fine. So he said, what is it? And I said, I don't know. And it turns out that Saturday, the following Saturday, the guy said to me, we got to go out on a field appointment. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that. And he said, take me to see your parents. I said, whoa. You don't want to see them. No. And he said, I do. And so what I learned now, in retrospect, was we don't want to go to people that are necessarily in worse shape than us. He took me to the toughest person in my market. And I said, you're in for it. It's not going to go well. And please don't tell him I'm doing this. I just paid for my education. No, it would not go over well. And he said, I'm not going to say a thing. You just call him right now. So we went over to the office phone. We picked up the phone. Of course, my parents were home. It was Saturday afternoon. And we went, and I said, I'm going to bring somebody by. I want him to share some concepts, ask a lot of questions so I can learn something. And they said, okay, Rhonda, see you soon. So I went over. I was shaking. So that first appointment, you might shake through it, but it's going to be okay. All the information's good. All the kindness is good. We're gentle. We're easy. It's going to go well. Somebody's going to benefit somewhere from this conversation. So went over, found out my dad had a stack of whole life policies, of course, that his friend down the street sold them, of course, the neighbor, and that he didn't know he could invest in mutual funds. So here was the smartest person I knew, the man I admired most in the world, who owned the wrong kind of life insurance, thought term insurance was a temporary thing, didn't understand it could go longer than whole life insurance in many instances, more years, and the mutual funds he could get into as a result of Primerica. So, because he thought only institutions get to buy those. I can't buy those, so I'm going to have to. He built his own portfolio. He was trying to mirror a mutual fund. He had some Disney, some GE, some GM, some Ford, some Delphi. He had some stocks, and he was trying to create his own portfolio. And when he found out he could get a mutual fund for as little as $25 a month, he was stunned. When he found out there was something called level premium, level protection term insurance, he was stunned. And so the appointment didn't go as well as you would have wanted it to go, but it went really well for me. We couldn't insure my father. He was already a heart patient. That was okay. I understood that. We walked away without a mutual fund investment because we weren't really trying to do that. And I found out later the person I was with wasn't licensed, but that's the way it went. But when we got back in the car, the field trainer said to me, are you okay? Is everything all right? He was worried about me. And I said to him, if they don't know it, nobody knows it, and I'm going to be so rich. And that was it. And so don't be afraid of the business. Be afraid of what you don't know. But don't be so afraid that you aren't willing to let somebody guide you. The guidance you'll receive from your RVP is extraordinary. They know what they're doing. They're great people. They're committed. They love you. They want you to win. They will take those rough steps with you, side by side, and you will grow into the position. So that's how it started. Then I got Jerry involved, and we started part-time. I quit my job my 5th month with Primerica. He quit his job his 8th month with Primerica. And then we opened our first office in our 13th month. We were district leaders in the office when we opened our own office. That's kind of like not a good idea these days, but it was okay back then. And we did it because our upline was an hour and a half away. And so we just couldn't do it. We understood we were willing to travel to his office to learn a few things about how to build a business, how to become financially independent. But most of the people we were inviting weren't willing to even go 10 minutes in a car. So we opened our own office. It was a couple hundred square feet just to hold opportunity meetings. And then we expanded it into 2 rooms so that we could hold an opportunity meeting and maybe a training class. And then we got into 3 rooms. And the whole thing was simple because we had made a decision. So the things I want you to understand today are that you can win here, that people that are shy accountants living in carpeted cubicles can win here. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to not know what you don't know. It's okay to start over in life. Don't be embarrassed by it. Be happy you have an opportunity. Be grateful for an opportunity. Twist it around. Be excited about life. Don't let life get you down. You bring yourself back up and everything's going to change for you. Being here today changes you. You're a different person when you walk out of here. You could say to yourself, I only wrote 2 things down on my paper. It's not what you wrote down on the paper, it's the person you become as a result of the environment you're in. So stay in the environment. So I'm going to talk to you about keys to winning. All I did was show up. I learned how to show up. I showed up those 5 Saturdays where most people would have quit by the 2nd Saturday. That snowstorm would have taken anybody home, and then by the 3rd week, I'd probably thought it was probably off, like our meeting wasn't, because remember, there's no communication back then. People didn't call. You weren't home waiting for a home phone to ring. So it was very different. So my thought pattern would have been, well, I missed last week, he's probably over me, it's probably done, and it would have been different. Everything would have changed in our life. So make those little decisions. So here's the little decisions that led to the big ones. So quitting your job is going to be a big decision. I don't know why you'd leave your $1 million opportunity on hold for your $45,000 a year job, but some people do it, and they do it too long. They do it so long that they lose their passion for this and their belief that they can win again. So it's timing. You got to leave that job early, not late. Don't wait until you make the money and you've replaced the money. I don't know about you, but that didn't happen for me. I made $2,500 my 5th month in the business. All I needed to do was prove to myself I could close a piece of business, that somebody would buy something from me and somebody would join this thing. And then once I figured out that somebody's going to buy something from me and somebody's going to join, I was okay with quitting. I could always go back. I can always go get a stupid job again. But I didn't always have the opportunity to feel like I felt that I wanted to win so bad it was killing me. I wanted to live a great life, not an okay life. I didn't want to just have a nicer car than the neighbor and call that success. I wanted to win really. I wanted 7 figures in my investment accounts, really. I didn't want to rely on other people for anything ever. And all those things meant so much more to me than the fear of just, a no. That's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of a no. And so once you figure out, I'm not going to fear the no's, you're over it. So my 5th month quit, let Jerry quit in his 8th month. All our income was dependent on this, and we were planning our wedding. It was insane. We opened our own office. We didn't know what we were doing. Our 13th month in the business, got promoted to regional vice president. First 12 months in the business, recruited 72 people on our team. Didn't recruit them all direct. Recruited about 15, 20 of them direct. And the rest, we taught people how to recruit people. Bring people, bring people, bring people. Introduce me to the most motivated person you know, the most competitive person you know. Introduce me to somebody you admire. Introduce me to bring me to people, bring people to me. I'll recruit them for you. And we started to recruit people, recruited 72 people, made $72,000 first year, quit our jobs, made $202,000 our first year as a regional vice president. And we did that because every day we showed up and fought. It wasn't our presentation. It wasn't how pretty we were. It wasn't how old we were or how young we were. It wasn't what sex we were. It wasn't what color we were. It wasn't what religion we were. It was all about feeling good about our decision to be here and letting other people feel good about their decision to follow us. And that's it. That's the whole business. That's the whole business. You just got your license. You got up here and got your license today. That's all you need. You're legal in the state of Florida to go build the biggest business you want to build. Don't let anybody or anything you think hold you back. Right? That's it. Let it go. Let it all out. That's Primerica. Said 3rd year in the business, 7 years in RVP, made $303,000. Our 10th year made $1 million. We're 24 years into an over $1 million a year income. Crazy. Crazy. Greg and Bill shared the stories of freedom, travel, all that. I'm not going to share those stories. I have the same stories. We live the same life. Same exact life. So I'm not going to talk to you, but I'm going to talk to you about a few things that I think you'll need to know. One is always be grateful. Don't ever take this opportunity for granted, and don't ever not be grateful. Be grateful that somebody is paying for the office. Be grateful that there's a meeting taking place. Don't resist going to the meeting. Be grateful there is one. Be grateful for anything anybody does for you. If somebody in Primerica says hello to you, say hello back. Be grateful for that. I'm just telling you that because as the negative world we live in, we have a tendency to judge people and kick people. Whether we're doing it verbally or we're doing it, in our thinking. Don't be like that. You got to let that go. Be nice. The nicer you are to the people in Primerica, the nicer they are back to you. And then it all starts to work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that too much? Is that too hard? Okay, all right, good. All right, so the next thing is you got to show up to everything. Some people say, do I need to come on Monday night? Do I need to come on Saturday? If you're saying that to yourself or to somebody else, you're not committed yet. And committed people don't win. Whether you're committed part-time or full-time, doesn't matter. It's the same commitment. It's that same, this is where I have to be, and I have to be there no matter what. Show up to everything. You say, well, I go to my training class, I don't learn a darn thing. That's not the point of it. It's just a team meeting. It's where you stay committed. It's where you stay plugged in. I've never known anybody that didn't show up that became our top producer. It's never happened in the history of this company. So showing up is super important. You will become, if you look back, if you've been here 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, 2 years, and you look back at the person you were when you walked in the door and the person you are now, all those training classes that you learned nothing in has shaped you into the Primerican you are today. It's amazing. You don't even realize it. And it happens. It's going to happen to you. The second thing is build your personal story. I came in here for the $500 a month part-time and pay my bills on time. You came in here for a reason too. Build your story. All we do in our business is tell our story, and then we tell the Primerica story. And then we tell our story again and the Primerica story. And we help other people build their story. What's your story? Tell it over and over and over again. Over and over. And your story will get better the more you tell it. We have an RVP in the room that survived cancer. We have one that got laid off from a 6- and 7-figure-a-year job. They have stories to tell. Tell your story. Learn your story and build your story. Understand there's going to be collateral damage. There just is. Your first presentation is going to be horrible. It is. But if your RVP or your first full-time upline doesn't send you out to make your first presentation on your own, you are not going to be a 6- or 7-figure income earner. You're not. So if we coddle you, we're holding you back. When we send you out, all you have to do is do what? Tell your personal story and tell the Primerica story. Those are the only two things you do at the kitchen table. After you do those two things, you get commitments. Can I earn your business if I can show you something better? There's two things people are doing. They either have financial planning, they're either doing something financially or they're not. Those are the two scenarios you walk into. If you walk into they're not doing something financially, it's, can I earn your business? If I can come back and show you what I've learned and implement it in your life, is there any reason why you wouldn't move forward? And they either say yes or no. If they say no, you say it again. Are you sure? And you move back in your presentation and go forward again until you get a yes. That's it. That's our whole business. So collateral damage is going to happen. Your first recruit, you're going to screw everything up with. Your first presentation, you might get a nosebleed. You know, it happens. There's collateral damage. We can't help that. I always felt sorry for my first 8 recruits, 10 recruits. When I think back on how bad I was and the things I said, like if you don't show up, I'm not working with you. I mean, I've said those things, you know, like, ooh, a little rough, you know. Collateral damage. You will learn the business, but only through having collateral damage. Positive attitude. A positive attitude, you know, it's not the positive attitude that says, you know, you're yelling at your kids, do your schoolwork, you know, eat your dinner, go to bed, and then you open the door when the doorbell rings, hi. That's not a positive attitude, that's just fake, right? A positive attitude is a positive attitude. It's real. It's not good manners. It's something real. It's something inside of you that says, I'm going to be positive no matter what. I'm going to look at every experience as a positive experience. I'm going to look at everything I do as being a growth experience, as something that's going to be good. It's going to be, the world is good. The world is great. We're going to have a great life. Be positive and really be positive. I once heard somebody say, think all positive thoughts for 24 hours. Do you know I've never been able to do it? I mean, and I'm telling you this because it's hard. You know, you get traffic, you go, if that guy won't speed up, you know, I'm just going to lay on my horn. You know, you really are like, you know, you're not always positive. But if you, oh, leave him alone, he's probably blind, you know. And if you start to become a positive person all the time, which is very difficult, you know, very difficult. But you try, and that'll be contagious. Negative drains positive. Negative drains positive. Let's talk about the support you're looking for at home for a second. If you're looking for support from home and you skip meetings, you're never going to get it. Because you can't come home from this meeting and say, I'm never going to miss another meeting. I'm going to win. We're going to do it. You know, Ashley Hobbs is not as excited as she is if Kevin were to say, one day I'm on, one day I'm off. I like it, I don't like it. And he doesn't, I'm going to the office, I'm not going this week. You know, you can't, it doesn't go both ways. To deserve support at home or among the people that you care about, you have to be different. You have to show something different. You have to get that commitment all the time. Then they will change. Then they will show interest in this. Then they might even show up to an event like this with you. And they'll stop resisting. The reason why people resist is because they don't believe. And once you start behaving like you always believe, 110% of the time always believe, you will gain some more support. So that could be helpful to you. Bring your A game. Your B game won't work here. The B game is bad. It just is. I'd like to do Primerica this month, but I'm too busy because I gotta clean the garage, the kids are back in school, my mother needs me. That's the B game. The B game says that all of the distractions in life will take precedence over my real opportunity. It doesn't work. The good news is your A game will work. If you're just always in the game, stay in the game, bring a positive attitude, have a work it out. Look, if a 24, 25-year-old accountant can do this thing with a guy that was in sales, and he was really in sales. If I told you stories about Jerry, of the kind of selling he did before Primerica, you would not believe it. But if we can do it, it's all about this A game. It is. It's believing. And when you set out, you set some goals, you say, I want to get 2 directs this month, and you start to say to yourself, but it's Sunday and I don't work on Sundays. And it's Friday, and you know what, nobody really wants to hear from me. And then you say, but you know, I can only 3 people, I can only invite 3 people to the meeting this week, I couldn't invite 10. You start making excuses, that's not your A game. Your A game says, here's my goals, I'm getting 2 sales and 2 recruits this month. I'm not letting January at 17 go by without them. And you go do it. And then you find out that there's a person inside of you that you didn't know was there because you haven't tested that in so long. And then it gets easier. The whole business gets easier when you set a goal and you hit the goal and then you go, oh my God, I hit it. And then you say, but I'm still the same person I was. No, you aren't. That was an A game person. The B game person says, oh my gosh, my mom went in the hospital. Sorry, Kevin, I can't do 2x2 this month. And you want Kevin to buy your excuse because he has to. He's your RVP. He says, oh, hope mom feels better. Give me an address. I'll send her some flowers, blah, 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 blah. And he hangs up and he says, darn it, brought a B game. I thought he was an A or she was an A player. They're a B player. You got to fix that. Your RVP doesn't fix that for you. You fix that and your RVP's ready to play in the A box with you. 3 kitchen tables a week till you're financially independent. 3 kitchen tables a week is all you need. That's it. I did a lot more than 3 kitchen tables a week, but I was only in the field for 18 months and my husband was only in the field for 4 years. And we did it because we wanted to win so bad that we just stayed in the field. Take me to somebody, take me to somebody, take me to somebody. I'll make the presentation, take me to somebody, take me to somebody. We'd sit down with people, who do you know, who do you know? Who's the most successful person? Who's the most competitive? Who's the most motivated, most ambitious? Who recently got laid off? Who didn't get their dream job out of college? We would just who, and a name would pop up, take me to see that person right now. The urgency you create will create all the dividends of the business. When we talk about passive income, 100% of my income, of our household income, our family income is passive. And has been for over 27 years. Wow. And it grows every year. Every year. Why? Because we built a business. I don't have to talk to you about that. Bill's talking to you about that. I'm just telling you the player you have to be. It's easy. It's a lot easier than working. So much easier than working. 3 kitchen tables a week till you're financially independent. It will keep you fresh. It will grow you stronger. It will keep the money problems away. You go on 3 kitchen tables, 3 will lead to 4 to 5 to 6. It just does. But if you never get your volume up to 3 a week, you're never going to get to 4 or 5 or 6 a week, which is where you really need to be. Every time we sit down with people, every 3 we sit down with, you'll get 1 client. When you get good, you'll get 2 out of 3. The 3rd one, just, whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. Love to help them, feel sorry for their children, and you move on and you go to another one. That's our business. Our business is making kitchen table presentations. You can't make money in the office. The office is the place where we get things done. That's our environment, that's our home, that's our team meeting. But you got to get to a kitchen table in order to make anything happen. How are you going to get a kitchen table? Take collateral damage. Surprise us. Go out, make your first kitchen table presentation today after the meeting. Call your RVP, they'll be shocked. But you'll be different. The whole thing will change for you. Your whole outcome of the business. One of these awards or all of these awards will be waiting for you. You'll win the next trip without even trying. You'll get your ring without any effort. It changes everything when you take initiative. Counting heads. In the meeting, you got to count heads. Art Williams taught us you got to count the numbers of people in the room. And you multiply that each one by 1, and that'll tell you how much production. You have 20 people showing up to class, you should be doing 20 sales on those people, right? That's how it goes. So you got to count heads and grow the number. Grow the number. Grow the number. I started out 5 years ago in South Florida with my fabulous son-in-law, Rob Traeger. He decided he wanted to give Primerica a try. We said, okay, let's open an office. You'll give it a try. If you don't like it, it's okay. We'll absorb it. Don't worry about it. Let's just do this. So he comes in the office, and we open this office, and he says, what do we do? He's part-time. What do we do? I said, I'm just going to make some few phone calls and see who I can get to show up here. Within a matter of, 6 days, 8 days, we got our first IBA. He said, we hired somebody? I said, yeah, we hired somebody. He goes, oh, we hired somebody. Okay, we hired somebody. And then we got, by the time we were in the business for 60 days, we hit eight recruits. By 90 days, I wanted in our 3rd month in the business to get double-digit recruiting. I didn't say our 30th. I didn't say our 3rd year. I wanted 90 days later, I wanted double-digit recruiting because I couldn't do anything without it. Nothing was going to happen on 1 and 2 people coming in. And personally, I didn't want to work. I didn't. I came down here to make something happen for them, not for me. So I said, all right, and we got 8 recruits our 3rd month open, and I was pissed off. I said, I can't do that. I can't do anything with 8. Because 8 will only get me 2 licenses, and one of them's not going to go district. I'm playing the odds too skinny. I got to play the odds up. So I said, I need more than 10, Rob. We got to get more than 10. Then Tim Kellis walks in the door and he says, I want to do this full time. I said, you're a little scary, but let's do it. Okay, you can do it full time, but keep looking for that job, okay? And he never looked for another job again. The day he signed his IBA, never looked. So he and I. It was he and I, and Rob was still part-time. And I said, we got to get to 10, Tim. Got to get to 10 on your team, Tim. We got to get to 10 on your team because nothing good's going to happen until we get to 10. Nothing. When you get 10, 3 get licensed, 1 goes district. You build a district a month, that's 12 districts in a year. The average district in our company does 2.2 apps a month. You are on your way. That gives you $30,000 in premium, plus, all the ancillary businesses we have. That's a $250,000 a year minimum job. That's a beautiful thing. That's our business. Our business is a simple business. I hope that I've outlined some of the things that you need to focus on. First, you got to focus on you. And second, you got to focus on you. And third, you got to focus on you. This is all about you. It's unlike any other business in the world. What you think about most is going to happen. You think you're not going to win, you're not going to win. You think this is hard, it gets harder. You think this is a piece of cake, it gets easy. You think you can make presentations, you can make them. You think some people are going to say yes and some are going to say no, and that's okay? Then you'll go out and you'll make presentations, and some will say yes and some will say no, and it'll be okay with you. When you stop getting home grumpy, and you start getting home positive, being grateful for an opportunity instead of nothing happened tonight, it sucks, this is hard. You start talking like that at home, she or he's no longer going to believe that they're going to have a yacht and they're going to be on, private cruises and they're going to win trips. You're going to ruin it all if you don't straighten out your attitude and create all the activity. The last thing I want to tell you is people come into your life at certain times in your life, and it creates all new meaning for your life. And I just want to tell you that being in South Florida, when Rob and Ashley and I decided that we were going to do this down here, remember, I'm from Michigan, that's where I live. And we said we're going to do it down here. You never know you're going to meet people like Tim. You don't know that you're going to meet people as good as Sohail and Geeta. You just don't know that. So 3 years into our bouncing into Florida and laying our stake down here, people came into our lives. So, Elvita, I can't even thank you enough for what you've brought to our team, to our life. You are extraordinary. You're extraordinary. And with you, you've brought Carson and Arlene into our lives, and Michael and Patty and Donald, and so many great people. You will find the people that are like-minded. They are out there. They are. I know you got to sift through a haystack to find them. I know how many people you have to tolerate to find them. But when you do, everything changes. We happen to find ours in our first year because we talk to more people than most people talk to in their first year. That's the only difference between us and them. The last people I'd like to thank is I'd like to thank Ashley and Kevin. I cannot believe that you do this for all these people. It's an extraordinary event. It's unbelievable. We are but we are very grateful that you've asked us to participate. This is the second one. We are with you forever. Thank you so very much for it. Bill and I go back way back to the Art Williams days.